Welcome back, everyone. This is my Thor 5 video. Chris Hemsworth just announced this would be his last Marvel movie as Thor, like his last time as the character. So I'll explain what that means given the Hercules post-credit scene in Thor Love and Thunder, what that's meant to set up for Thor's next movie, and separately, how that's all connected to Avengers 6 Secret Wars. Because even though Chris Hemsworth is talking about leaving the character after his next movie, that's not meant to be about Secret Wars. That's like a whole separate movie from what the Hercules post-credit scene is meant to set up.
What is Chris Hemsworth's last Marvel movie? And it may be my last, I don't know. It was a wild and fun and wacky experience as all. Played that character for 10, 11 years now, and each time it's been new and exciting, and this was no exception to that. It felt very fresh, and it felt like we were trying something we hadn't tried before. He wasn't quite himself, and he had some work to do. So he leaves that film and embarks on a journey of self-discovery, and that's where we pick this up.
If you're brand new to the channel, I do Marvel videos every week. Be sure to subscribe to get everything. I'll be doing videos for Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special next week. It's a Guardians of the Galaxy 3 prequel. We're also going to start getting Ant-Man 3 Quantumania trailers really soon because that movie is coming out at the beginning of next year. It's like the next big movie. In talking more about the lead up into the next Avengers movies, that's sort of the beginning of this Kang multiverse, new Avengers stuff all coming together in a clearer way. Marvel Phase 5 is sort of like the march as they bring them all slowly together. By the end of Marvel Phase 5, so the beginning of Marvel Phase 6, there is a version of the new Avengers team. That'll start to happen in Captain America 4, New World Order, like the Falcon Captain America will slowly start putting his quote-unquote team together, and that is the new Avengers team. And currently right now, Thor is one of the few remaining original core Avengers. I define the core Avengers as the original 6, because by the time Avengers Infinity War happened, the roster had ballooned to way bigger. Like you got Rhodey, Scarlet Witch, Vision, bunch of other characters. I just did a bunch of Captain America 4, New World Order, and Thunderbolts videos because there's a big World War Hulk plot, big Hulk-related plot that's flowing through those with Red Hulk, with Bruce Banner's Hulk, and with Scar, son of Hulk. Just in terms of Chris Hemsworth's character, we last saw him at the end of Thor Love and Thunder, and at the end of that movie he agreed to raise Gorr's resurrected, now super child named Love, resurrected by Eternity, the child of Eternity. That's where her superpowers came from. They're a little undecided, a little vague about how her powers work. She just has blanket superpowers that allow her to wield Stormbreaker without it melting her brain. There's no worthiness enchantment on Stormbreaker, so anybody could walk around and pick it up, but the problem is you have to be powerful enough, or the power flowing through the actual axe will melt your brain. That's why only people like Thanos, people like Captain America with some level of superpowers can pick it up and be just fine. Thor agrees to raise her to at least adolescence till she decides to take off on her own. She's played by Chris Hemsworth's real-life daughter too, and she's about 8 years old or so when they made the movie. And they just go on adventures together around the universe helping people, giving the movie its title. They are both Love and Thunder, going around helping people. Here's where we start to get to the plot of the next Thor movie. Like, Love will not be a big character in that, but when the events of the movie pick up, Thor will still be doing what he's doing now, going around helping people. The Jane Foster stuff, sacrificing herself and then going to Valhalla when she dies, is also meant to be more of an Avengers 6 Secret Wars teaser. Eventually she will come back. Per the rules they set up in Moon Knight, I think the reason she ended up there is because she formed a contract with the Hammer. Like, even though Moon Knight himself did not believe in the Egyptian afterlife, he formed a contract with Khonshu to become Moon Knight, and that's why he wound up in the Duat. As far as I know, she, Heimdall, the original Loki from the 616 Marvel Universe, not coming back during Thor 5. It's always possible, but I think it's meant to be more of a Secret Wars teaser, and eventually we will see versions of them slowly cameo in other future movies. Some of them won't come back permanently, some of them will just be cameos. But that's the whole reason why they tease Valhalla in another dimension, like, oh, they're all still here, they can come back to the main MCU dimension eventually. The Hercules post-credit scene is really just about setting up the next Thor movie, not so much about Avengers 5 Kang Dynasty or Avengers 6 Secret Wars, but Hercules might also appear in Secret Wars in a cameo too.
Do you understand me, Hercules? Do you understand me, my son?
Yes, Father.
Because every character in the history of Marvel is supposed to have some kind of cameo in that movie. Like, think the portal scene from Avengers Endgame times 100. You want more? Yes, we wanted more. Bring every single character ever. Even Howard the Duck was in the portal scene in Avengers Endgame, so if Howard the Duck made it into the first version of that, you have to imagine the most obscure of characters will probably make it into the Secret Wars version of that. But when Zeus tells Hercules to go kill Thor and creates this larger plan to make the lesser beings, normal people, fear the gods again, because the whole theme in the movie is that people have turned away from the gods, they also address that during Moon Knight as well. Way fewer people across the universe believe in gods. So as a way to make the people fear them again, Zeus is having Hercules kill Thor in broad daylight, so to speak.
No more. They will fear us again when Thor Odinson falls from the sky.
It is more of a Thor versus all the other gods kind of movie, like a War of Realms type of conflict, a mini version of Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame where it's all about Thor versus the rest of the gods. Which is kind of funny because that's kind of what they set Thor Love and Thunder up to be, like Gore versus all the other gods. During that movie, Thor even jokes about how all the other gods are going to hate them and want to kill them now. Now they're just paying that off. Like, oh yeah, they're definitely coming to try and kill you. In the comics, Hercules was meant to be about as powerful as Thor. Just like Thor in the comics too, he also gained greater cosmic levels of power to become God of Gods. Rune King Thor is a good example of that, like Thor becoming the god of all gods. That's how powerful he was. During Chaos War, more recently in the comics, Hercules also became god of all gods. So even though their powers work very differently, they're kind of the same power level, basically. Even if you haven't read a lot of Hercules comics in the past, MCU Hercules powers are similar to a lot of the other pop culture depictions of Hercules. He starts out as a demigod, son of Zeus and a human woman, and throughout his adventures attains more power and eventually has to choose whether to live the rest of his existence as a full-on god, like 100% god, or pull a Thor in Avengers Endgame and just continue having adventures on his own on ground level. Thor's arc in the MCU has been pretty much that, like, do you accept your responsibility to become king of your people, become more of an actual god to your people, or do you just continue having fun across the universe?
Shit, now what do I do?
Since Chris Hemsworth is saying that next Thor movie versus Hercules and the gods is meant to be his last time as the character, most people think that means that Hercules is going to be successful in killing him, but I don't think that that's what they're going with. Also, I think that Chris Hemsworth is being a little misleading when he's saying he's leaving the character. Like Hugh Jackman left Wolverine after Logan. Patrick Stewart also left Professor X after Logan. But here they are, playing their characters again a lot. Deadpool 3 is like a full-on Deadpool and Wolverine movie. Based on countless other examples of stuff like this happening in previous movies, my early theory right now is that when Hercules and Thor start the movie battling it out, eventually they'll have their quote-unquote Martha moment, post all the memes, like Thor will convince Hercules that they're both total bros. They're the two biggest himbos in the Marvel Universe, why wouldn't they become drinking bros at some point? And they'll have a similar arc with their relationship in the movies that they did in the comics. Like when Hercules was first introduced in the comics, he became more of a foil for Thor. They battled it out quite a bit. Eventually they became good friends and just started having lots of fun together. Just let's go around, smash a bunch of alien cultures, and then get really drunk afterwards. And by the end of his last movie, he will accept the greater cosmic role and become a little bit more like Rune King Thor in the way he fit within the Marvel Universe, in more of a god of gods, cosmic kind of role. And that'll be how they explain why Thor isn't around day to day all the time for regular movies anymore, but how he can still come back for cameos occasionally in the future when they really want him, leaving room for Hercules in the MCU to eventually fill Thor's role on that new Avengers team like he did in the comics.
Honestly, they put a chip in my brain that will explode if I answer any of your questions, and then I don't get to do anything.
During the first Red Hulk arc in the comics, which we're getting ready for in the MCU, the Incredible Hercules title even took over for the Thor book in the comics. We're getting ready for Ant-Man 3 Quantumania. Kang the Conqueror is appearing in that for the first time. I think that'll be the version that we see in Avengers 5 Kang Dynasty. A lot of the plot of Kang Dynasty is based on Avengers Kang War in the comics, which is a little bit different, but a lot of the new Avengers team in Kang War is the Avengers team that we're going to see in the MCU. Like Hercules was on the team, Falcon, Captain America was on the team, Spider-Man was on the team. Spider-Man is still going to be on the MCU version of the Avengers team during Avengers 5 and Avengers 6. We'll also have gotten Spider-Man 4 before that happened, so I know there's lots of questions about what the spell changed with Spider-Man and the Avengers. It didn't change him fighting with the Avengers or being on the Avengers team. They just forgot that Peter Parker is the person underneath Spider-Man's mask. They haven't announced any kind of release date for that Thor vs. Hercules movie that they're setting up, or how many other gods are going to be in that movie. Unless they announce that they're starting work on it next year, they wouldn't be able to get it out until after Avengers 6 Secret Wars. He will be in Avengers 5 and Avengers 6 Secret Wars, and then after that they'll do that Thor vs. Hercules movie, and then after that he pulls more of a Hugh Jackman Wolverine, where he only comes back every once in a while. But post all your predictions for that Thor vs. Hercules movie in the comments below. Who else do you want to see in that movie? I just did a brand new Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special, Guardians of the Galaxy 3 video. I'll put a link for that in the description below. We also got the Loki Season 2 trailer recently. I did a breakdown of that, so I'll add a link at the end of this. And the TVA is also going to be a really big deal during Deadpool 3. I just did a video for that as well. So there'll be a lot of Loki and Thor related stuff happening during Marvel Phase 5, Marvel Phase 6. Everyone click here for that brand new Deadpool 3 video to learn about what's going on with the TVA during that movie, and click here for my Loki Season 2 trailer video. Thank you so much for watching, everyone stay safe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.